Welcome to the Creature Cast, the official console creatures podcast. I'm your host today, Steve Egvari, and alongside me, my good pal, as always, Bobby. How the heck are you this week?
I'm doing good, my friend. It's been a couple weeks, but I'm glad we're back. Been a busy start to October. I actually can't believe we're literally, as of tomorrow, the mid of October.
That's right. Yeah, it's been we're in gaming season, so there's a lot going on. But it's an exciting time, yeah, and a ton of games to be played and a lot of hardware to be tested, and that's exactly why we are here this week. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode. We are going to be talking about the ASUS ROG Xbox Ally X. That is a mouthful. We're going to try and get through it as much as we can without flubbing the name. But yeah, no, this has been a long time coming. I mean, both of us, enthusiasts of PC gaming handhelds. We've both toyed around with the ASUS ROG Ally, and then this is the new big annualized model in partnership with Microsoft that comes out on October 16th. Both you and I got sent a device courtesy of Xbox and Asus to toy around with, to test for the past, I don't know, like a week and a half or so. So it's a good time to sit down, talk about our thoughts about the device before it launches this week. It's coming out, so people can gauge whether or not they should be picking one up, get excited or get disappointed. Let's find out. But Bobby, I want to throw it over to you. A week and a half, removed. How are you feeling about the ROG Xbox Ally X?
Yeah, top level thoughts. I do love it. Let's walk that back. I do like it. I like it.
Okay.
To love it, it's going to take some work, but I am leaning towards that. It is a step above the ROG Ally X. You can tell from spending a half hour with it, like, it is an improvement. But yeah, I've just been toying around with it. I mean, it's been pretty consistent with everything I've thrown at it. So like, I tested Doom: The Dark Ages. I tested some Forza Horizon 5. I tested some Assassin's Creed, the older stuff, so like Revelations and Brotherhood and like that stuff, and like everything there has been pretty good. But with that in mind, there are some caveats. Like, you will have newer games which you definitely have to like toy around with. Like, it's not as simple as everyone's saying. You can't just download a game and play it. You do have to finagle with some of the settings, but like, it's not over the top. Like, anyone I know would probably be able to understand what's going on, because that new partnership between Xbox, Microsoft, and Asus has been actually in the making for a while, and they did a really good job at streamlining a lot of these processes that before would you'd have to go into like a portal. You'd have to go into your graphics card settings and adjust everything there. But with the ROG Xbox Ally X, it's all in one menu. It's all very layman's terms, and everything's kind of explained to you. So anyone can really dive in and have a really good mobile handheld experience with this new pair of devices. But yeah, I mean, like, so far it's only been about a week and a half, but like, I'm really liking what's there. It's just, we'll get into what I didn't like later on, but overall, I do like it.
Yeah, I feel a lot of the same sentiments as you. I think, following the lineage of the Asus ROG Ally over the past couple of years, I've seen the evolution, the gradual evolution year after year. Asus does really go out of its way to kind of improve the device, kind of address some of the comments, the concerns of the community and everything. And I really do think that this year, bringing in Microsoft into the fold and then introducing the new Xbox Game Bar, having that new overlay and simplifying the almost to a plug and play degree, getting in there, having access to your library, not having to interact with Windows 11 all that much, if at all, is really, really novel. I think that streamlined process of jumping in, being able to access your PC PC Game Pass library, is a lot of your Xbox titles, have cross saves functionality going between your console and the handheld, is incredible. I think that the performance is pretty stable across the board. I haven't run into really any glaring issues aside from some boot times. I think that's some of the most glaring things that
Yeah,
I've experienced. But in the game itself, everything I'm kind of we'll talk about it, but I am kind of wondering about like some of your experiences finagling some of the settings because as far as the games that I've been playing,
yeah,
most, if not all, are kind of right out of the box optimized, pre-optimized to run as good at like as simplified as possible. Like on medium settings, they run adequately.
yeah,
I don't really feel the need to ever go through and finagle them, although
yeah,
I do, because there are some benefits to that. But yeah, I think that the biggest pain point on top of the price because $1,299 isn't really all that cheap for what is clearly an enthusiast device.
yep,
Um, is the onboarding process. And what I mean by that is that while the Xbox Game Bar does a lot of the heavy lifting of simplifying and bringing
yep,
over that console-like experience, you're still going through and updating drivers. You're updating the ASUS Armory crate, which does a lot of
yep,
the powering of the device itself. You're dealing with updates to Steam games and the Xbox Store and your individual Xbox games and everything. And that is still a hurdle for me because I'm someone who does not like PC gaming at all. That's why I
yeah,
play on my Xbox. That's why I play on my PlayStation. That's why I play on my Switch. It's because I just love that plug and play functionality of jumping in. My games have updated in the background while my console's sleeping or doing something like that. Or the console itself will tell me, hey, this needs to be updated before you can play. In this, you're still left with a few unknowns of drivers
yep,
and Windows 11 updates and stuff like that. So I feel like there's still a little bit of friction here when I'm interacting with it. But I mean, I even picked up my ROG Ally X yesterday and today, just kind of, refamiliarizing myself. And I was like, wow, it is night and day of
yep,
how you interact with these two devices. And I do struggle, whether or not this all justifies 12.99, but it cannot be understated that the software innovations have made a remarkable improvement. I think the device itself is super ergonomical and
yep.
comfortable to use.
One
I
of the
I have no
biggest things about
complaints of
them.
how it feels in my hands. Um, it is just clearly an enthusiast device, and I cannot justify that or justify recommending this to casual players or anyone who might not be familiar with the PC gaming
Yeah,
ecosystem.
yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. So, like in my review, which is live, should be live of of this recording.
Mhm.
It's not for those people who are basically playing FIFA or NHL or Fortnite. Like you're basically spending all that money to do the stupidest thing, right? So I mean, this is definitely for that person who is in the Xbox ecosystem, who like thrives in it, who is basically attached to it, and like they want to bring their library with them
That's right.
with an asterisk, right? Obviously, the asterisk is not all your games are coming with you, but it's mostly Game Pass and cloud gaming, which is fine. But that price is just like you have to consider a lot of things now. It's like, well, one, cost of living, like that, everything's so expensive in Canada
Yeah.
and worldwide. But at that price point, you can just buy like a pretty decent gaming laptop and like just, run with that. It'll last you like 5 years. And you have a laptop. You don't just have like a gaming handheld device. You have an actual device you can use to, take with you everywhere you want to go. You can, take it to work. You can take it on a flight. And I'm not saying you can't do that with the Xbox Ally X. It's just it's basically made for gaming, and like that's a hard sell. I mean, consoles are just crossing that barrier now. Like people are not happy about it. So to just come out the gate and say, hey, like we're charging $1,400 taxes in for this device, like
Mm.
you're asking a lot, and the niche market is there, but like it's how many people are there? Because from the last sales number from I think it was combined Steam Deck and like MSI Claw and the Lenovo Legion Go and the ROG Ally, they sold 1.4 million units in 2024, which is pretty low.
Yeah.
And um, Yeah, I think there was that. I'll link the report once I find it. But there was something with MSI. Like I know they were supposed to do some kind of handheld with Xbox, but like AMD wanted 10 million units out the gate, and it's like there's no feasible number like that. Like this just doesn't work like that. Like there's not that many people who want a handheld unless it's a Switch or a Switch 2, right? Switch 2 is the clear exception to that rule, but everything else is just like it's made for a niche market. Like the Switch is just the only mainstream handheld that can pull those numbers out. Anything up less than that, like you're not getting that number.
That's true.
And yeah, and to that point, like I do love that the new Xbox game bar is now streamlined. It's got all your launchers in one. I do like that. I do like the fact that it's all run through the command center that ASUS has provided, and I love the command center. I actually kind of want Steam to kind of put that into their next OS because it's really cool. Having all those toggles, one button pops up, and you can basically adjust your profile, adjust your TDW. You can adjust the brightness. You can adjust the volume. You can adjust how much power, like I said, how much power is going to the device.
Do your turbo mode. Yeah, you got even your customizable buttons on the back you can set, which is awesome. I love those.
Yeah. So like Microsoft is taking this handheld market seriously, but like this is gonna be an uphill battle over the next 2 to 4 years, I'm thinking, because like right now we kind of all see what's going on with Xbox. We're seeing reports, they're pulling consoles from stores, which people are, saying is not true, but it's clear that they want to become a third party at this point. Like they're, everything's an Xbox at this point. I'm not saying, you see it everywhere. You see the marketing. This device is being marketed as an Xbox, but like really, it's not. And that's kind of where I want to take it to next, because like as great as the hardware is, which that new processor is what's amping that price up, because it's AMD Ryzen 8i Z2 Extreme processor, which, and you can go to my review, it has that NPU, which is the node processing unit, which is now the AI focus, right? And the AI focus, as much as I don't like AI for what a lot of these companies are using, I do like the implementation here, because it's a gaming co-pilot now. So I don't know if you had any chance to like play around with it or anything, but like I did like, being able to play. Like I was playing, I went back to South of Midnight, and you can basically launch the gaming co-pilot, and it'll just tell you, like you could ask like, hey, it'll take a snapshot of where you are in the game, and it'll basically, you can ask like, hey, where are all these collectibles in this level? And it'll actually give you all that information. So you can like stop the game, find out where the collectibles are, and just keep going. That's a good use of AI for the gaming spaces. It's a companion. It's not just
right.
Destroying jobs, but like that processor is just offloading a lot of stuff. So like any of the basic processes that you would have when you have Windows 11, like if you boot up Windows 11, you have you have basically all these apps open up. You have you have Word, you have Edge, and that kind of stuff is basically taken away from the CPU and the GPU, and it's thrown to this node processor. So basically all the tasks that you would normally slow down your machine are thrown to this processor, and that's kind of why you're seeing that price. It's everything's been thrown to AI processing, and like I do like that, but like it's not, for me, it's not enough. It's just like it feels like a band-aid for actually just putting a more powerful unit to the market, and doing something like that overall. But ultimately, like the device itself is pretty powerful. It's just it's not much more powerful than, I'd say, even like you said, the ROG Ally X. Like it's fine.
So yeah, I kind of disagree with that. I think that the new handheld is pretty darn powerful with the once you're in the game. So for instance, like one of the games that I was playing, and much to my surprise, was Black Ops 7, the beta. That was over the weekend. I installed it. I was like, yeah, there's no way in hell this early piece of software, this game for an unreleased game, is going to run at all. And much to my surprise, like it ran flawlessly.
Like they work. Don't get me wrong, they get me work, but like I was playing, and I'm using, like I tested Doom Dark Ages, and like
Mhm.
I was
Yeah.
trying as much as I could to get it to run at 60 frames. I could barely scratch that, and like even dropping down the resolution to 720p. And I don't know if it's something that I was doing, if there was a glitch in the
Mm.
software, but I couldn't get it to work. And like whatever I was doing, I couldn't get it to go past 37 to 40 frames. I would turn on AMD, the resolution boost. I would drop from 1080 to 720. I would up my profile to turbo, which is like 25 wattage, which would
Yep.
basically give me that boost. But at the same time, it would drain my battery faster. It's like I've tried everything and I couldn't get over that hurdle. And I don't know, maybe if it's just some kind of, like I said, glitch software. Because as of this review, like, and to be upfront about it, we did have at least 4 or 5 updates over the last week, and every time we got an update, it was basically the software that we needed. So, like, I know Xbox Game Bar got updated twice. The Armor Crate just got an update today. I don't know how much it added, but I saw like a patch notes, and like it did actually add stuff to what I was trying to do. So I'm gonna go back and I'll update it for tomorrow for the review. But my issue was like I just couldn't get where I wanted the frame rate. And I know Doom: The Dark Ages is a pretty powerful looking
Yeah.
game. So like I'm gonna finagle with it a little bit more, but I had no issues with Gears of War Reloaded. I know that's a remaster slash. I don't know if it's considered a remake, but like I got that game 60 plus frames, no problem,
Right.
smooth as butter. But like, and then I went back, like I went to Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, easily got to 90 frames. I know it's a very old game. I did some streaming, no problem. It's just certain games, like the ones I want to really, put through the paces, I couldn't get them to where I wanted them to be.
That's fair. I struggled. Yeah, Call of Duty, when I first tried to boot it, obviously Call of Duty has so many updates
Yeah.
aside from it being on a handheld. And then it took about 2.5 minutes to initially boot into the game. But once
Yeah.
I was in the lobby, I got into some matches, ran pretty flawlessly. Forza Horizon 5 is another game that took a very long time, like upwards of a
Long
minute and
time.
a half to boot up. But again, once I was in there,
It
ran at
was
like
flawless.
60 frames,
Yep.
perfectly fine.
Yep.
Low times to get from like fast travel to a different location, get into a race, stuff like that. It was all pretty seamless. It was all pretty quick and everything. And then yeah, I played like a lot of other games, to be totally honest. Hollow Knight Silksong was another one.
Yeah.
Although strangely enough, the first day I got it, and we're talking about this conversation of, carrying over progress and everything. The first night that I got it, I was booting it up and I was installed Hollow Knight Silksong.
Yep.
For a game that's cross save, it never synced up my save data. I had
Was it weird?
to, yeah, I did. I wasn't able to load into my game, and then I had to manually go back onto my Xbox, play it, save it again, and then my save was synced up to the cloud. For some reason, the cloud kind of like screwed up with the upload of that save data. It was very weird, but yeah. And then I mean, we are able to say we're playing Outer Worlds 2. I've been playing
Yep.
Outer Worlds 2 on the device as well, and I think a couple other games. Oh, I started playing Clair Obscur. Finally, I was like, okay, this is the machine. I'm going to go
Yep.
through and
And
play the
that runs
game.
flawlessly.
Yeah,
It runs no problem.
yep.
Like I can show you like right now, like my just my installs. Like I don't have anything like too outrageous. Like these are pretty normal games. Like I have Dishonored 2 runs like beautifully. I did Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, no problem. Hi-Fi Rush, like it looks incredible. It plays incredible. Silksong, Hollow Knight, no issues. But when I got to Doom, it was like that's when the games were chugging, and it's like, oh, okay, well, there's something going on. I don't know if it's just something. Like I said, if it's not something I missed or something, but I'm still going to be testing it throughout. Like I know our reviews are out today / tomorrow, whenever this is going out, but I don't intend to just stop because I'm super curious to see what I can do with this thing now that it's out and people
Yeah.
are it's in their hands. And like ASUS is finally able to be like, well, now it's out, so let's get all these patches going. And like I'm more curious to see how I can get a game like Witchfire, because Witchfire is pretty graphic intense on a PC, and like
Sure.
I struggled to play that on my PC, and like I had to upgrade it just to even get that to play. And like I want to make sure that like I can do Cyberpunk. I'm curious to see like what Cyberpunk plays on this thing. I unfortunately don't have it on Game Pass / Xbox Play Anywhere, because I don't think it was a Play Anywhere title, but like I have it on my Xbox. I'm gonna probably just repurchase it and see how that works. I have Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm gonna see how that plays. But like I feel like those games are not gonna really give it an issue. But there are specific ones I noticed, and I want to double check. I know you're playing Outer Worlds 2. Avowed, flawless. Like I have no.
I should go back and play that. Yeah.
Yeah, flawless. Like I literally just downloaded it. I opened Command Center. I swapped over to God, what was it? I gotta pull it up right now. I went to performance mode, which is 17 watts, and I just let it run from that. So that's basically like the standard profile, and I hit 60 frames, no problem. It obviously looked a little bit worse than I wanted it to, but like you can drop down your like if I'll just show you guys quickly. I don't know if you guys are watching. Like if you can go to 720p, you can put 720p, hit AMD RSR, and you can basically boost your frame rate and like it'll look incredible. So like there are like that, those are the tweaks you only have to really worry about if you're using this device.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's also worth pointing out that individual games, they are come like pre-optimized, like Doom: The Dark Ages, for instance.
Yeah, so we
could theoretically be played like as soon as you boot in, you don't really have to touch all that much. I started doing that only because I felt like I wanted to get a little bit more out of it. But that being said, the more that you obviously increase the performance or the frames, the battery is going to get tapped as well.
And here's something I want to bring up. So Xbox now, and I have to pull back to my review. So we posted this on the website, so Console Creatures. Like if you are interested in this ecosystem, there is now that new I think what's it called? Geez, the handheld optimized program, which is like Xbox's version of like Steam Deck, compatible.
Verified, yeah.
So any game that's going to be on the store will have a badge saying like optimized for your device, mostly optimized or not optimized. And just like I thought, if you go to Doom: The Dark Ages, it says mostly compatible. So that's kind of what I knew was going to happen. And that's what I saw. So it was mostly compatible. But if I go to say, let's go back to, so let's pick Dragon Ball. You go to the store and basically you just go to the profile, and I'll just pull it up quickly. Same thing, mostly compatible, but I had a better experience on this game. So I was like, okay, let's go back. This is kind of what I like about this. It's the fact there's a badge telling you how well the game will run, and it's mostly correct. And like they're gonna be fixing it. But Hi-Fi Rush will perform great on your device. And as soon as they boot it up, no issues. It was like honestly one of the best experiences on the device so far. It was just so perfect, and like paired with the Dolby Atmos speakers, it is probably my new favorite to play Hi-Fi Rush. Like it plays so well in here. But that's kind of what I'm excited about now. Is now that we're on the cusp of this release, this launch, we're going to be seeing, Bethesda optimizing their games for the system. They're going to see, we're going to be seeing like Square Enix optimizing games because Final Fantasy is coming in a couple months.
Right.
I'm excited for that stuff. So that's what I want to see. But like out of the box, 90% of the games I tested worked. It's the 10% that I had issues with. And it was just the small things. Like I said, it's just optimizing like the AMD FSD and stuff like that, which is basically, the AI resolution boost or whatever you want to
like the AI upscaling, because you have AMD, you have the Intel XeSS in there as an option as well, and those are things that you can kind of tweak as well. I'm kind of curious though, based on your experiences, like what's the average battery life that you're getting out of this guy?
So playing Silksong, I got a good 7 hours out of it, like no problem. Playing Doom, I got 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
But I was also, playing for half an hour, pausing it, going to the settings, changing stuff. So it's like, I would say like 5 hours on a full battery. But Silksong, like easy, I got almost 8 hours. And I wasn't doing anything but basically just playing the game. I didn't really, like you said, it's one of those games where it's not really graphic intense. I could basically just play it and it ran, and it was so quiet. Like, and what I like about this device is like the fact that this is a modified version of Windows 11, so a lot of like the evergreen apps that you would find on startup on a computer is not there. Like they removed it. So like all that stuff that would drain your battery is gone. All that busy work that your computer is doing is now moved to the NPU unit, which is basically giving you extra battery life. And more impressively, it runs cool. The only issue that I had was Doom. So when I was playing it and I was doing some of the end game stuff, like it was basically burning hot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I found
outside
at
of that,
times, I think, especially when I was playing Call of Duty, the vents were running pretty hot.
yeah,
In
but
my
it wasn't loud.
experiences,
But it wasn't
no,
loud.
it's never loud. No, it's pretty quiet. It runs a little warm at times, but on average, the games that I've been playing, I can usually tap like maximum 4 hours, usually 3. But that again is me going and playing with some settings, playing with more intensive games. Than like a standard platformer or stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean, Clear Obscure definitely tapped the battery out a lot. Like you were saying, Doom definitely tapped the battery quite a lot. But
I'm
yeah, I
curious
think
to
it all
see.
depends on what you're playing and how you're playing it and what it looks like.
Yeah, like I don't really care for 4K graphics. Like I'm on a handheld like this, like outside of not being an OLED screen, it does look good. So
Yep.
um I'm fine with even bumping it to 720 and then just letting the AI processor just fill in the gap for me. And that's been working for me. Some people don't like that. That's personal preference, but for me, it's been great in that regard. It's just like, hey,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
don't need it
handheld.
to look
I don't need
all
that
that
PC
nice.
experience, right? I don't need that. Like
I
on a 7-inch screen, 720p is more than enough. It
I
really looks incredible.
I think the novelty of being able to carry over my saves while I'm playing from the console,
That's the
bring it
thing.
over to the handheld while I lie in bed or something, or even sit at my office and everything, and I'm just playing half an hour of a game in between meetings or something. I think that novelty is way better
That's what it comes down to.
than having a device that can do 4K output like the
And that's
Switch
the
2.
thing. It's a novel device. That's really what it comes down to. It's not meant to replace anything. It's just meant to uh, add to whatever your
Yes.
ecosystem is.
Yep.
And I'm totally fine. It's like the PlayStation Portal. It's not meant to replace your PlayStation,
Right.
or your Steam Deck is not meant to replace your computer. It's just the accomplice to it. And like I'm totally fine with that. I want to note that the software itself is good. Like I do love the modified version of Windows 11. I love the Xbox Game Bar.
Mhm.
I was actually playing around on my ROG, just the ROG Ally X. Like I had the pre uh, Xbox upgrade, and like it is night and day better.
Oh, yeah.
It's now more in line with Steam Deck's big picture mode. I feel like it's
Sure.
more akin to that than anything before, and like I actually think it's my new favorite way to experience PC gaming. It's just so optimized, and like I love that about it. I used to hate Xbox on PC, and rightfully so because it used to be really bad.
Mhm.
You could download a game and it would basically eat that space. You could uninstall it and that space would not return to your hard drive. And like that was why I never liked using PC Game Pass. I hated it, and they seem to address that issue. I hope I'm right because I'm going to be actually use my laptop to confirm it. But like on here on my ROG Xbox Ally, no problem. Like I installed the game, the space went back, and it
Yep.
was quick. It was just like that. It wasn't even a minute, and everything was back to where I was, and like it was like go do what you want to do.
Yeah, for people who have not had the chance to experience the Xbox Game Bar, it is very similar to the PC Game Bar that's on a desktop
It's the
or something
same
like
thing.
that. It does incorporate a little bit of like the console space as well, but it really is night and day. Like I was saying earlier, is
Yeah,
that you hit that button and you have everything from your library
yeah,
to the Game Pass menu to what's available on Xbox Cloud
yeah.
Gaming to even launching different launchers. Like you have access to Steam,
I have
Ubisoft
all of it.
Connect, Epic Games and everything without having to go beyond that overlay and interact with Windows 11. I've had to interact with Windows 11 very, very rarely, only to really do some updates, and I really wanted to go in and tinker with Discord on there as well, and that was
Yeah,
kind
like
of the extent of it.
exactly. The only things you'll be doing on Windows 11 is downloading the installers for like GOG,
Yes, that's right.
or like Epic Game Store, and then just letting them install. My only issue is Windows Microsoft Store. Like, I hate it. I still hate it.
Yeah,
I
me
think it's
too.
the dumbest interface. It doesn't work. I had a bunch of updates a couple days ago just because like we got a new update on the back end from anyone reviewing it, and like it would say it was downloading and then it would just not do anything. So I basically, had to uninstall it, the game bar, rejoin the preview session that we're a part of, and then reboot the device and re-add everything back. I was like, it's because of the stupid Microsoft Store, and then I would like pay to have just something better. I would actually pay because it's just so mind numbing and grating to open that store and see 1,000 updates that I have to update and none of them work. And that's the only issue I really want to like, walk away from this thing is that store sucks. And it's just like, for $1 billion company, this is the best thing you could do for your store.
Yeah, this is where like I think my main criticism of the handheld comes into play is that I just think that interacting with these underlying systems like the Armory Crate, Windows 11,
Yeah.
the Xbox app, Microsoft Store, and going through and knowing when an update is available, updating the thing. I just wish that there was a way to kind of launch into this handheld and then all of a sudden it just tell you like, or give you the option of like update everything all at once. Like I think that Microsoft and Asus have to come up with a way to just make it as streamlined as there being a menu within the Xbox game bar that can kind of scrub through the entirety of the handheld and be like, here's all the software that you have available. Update it all for me right now, or do it in the back end while the device is in sleep mode or something like that, or on boot up. I just
No,
need something more in there that I don't have to go flipping through different layers. And
and
really, that's what I want. I want that core console-like experience where I'm interacting, with my Xbox Series X or my PlayStation, where I just know when an update is available and how to get it installed.
and my biggest issue with that is that no handheld has been able to figure out remote updates or
No.
or even like streaming. Like if I have my either my Steam Deck or now my ROG Xbox LX plugged in, like why am I not able to use an app to just log in remotely, make sure everything's working, update everything, and then just go about my day? Like I would, like I said, this is stuff I would pay for. I know it's just it's giving into the systems, but like the other alternative is basically I come home and like I want to play like my Steam Deck or my ROG LI, and like I have to wait because like
Yep.
just before we started recording, I was trying to update something on my device, and I mean it's like this could have been done while I was gone. Like I know you can set times and all this, but like these devices don't turn on. But unless you physically go and push the button, they're not turning on to update, and they're not using low power mode to update. So it's like
Right.
if these devices want to be taken seriously, they need to be able to keep up with what a console can do, right? And that's like the minimum I feel like is just being able to have remote installs or like if you're on your break out, like you're taking like a lunch break and you're like, I want to play this game tonight on my ROG.
Mm-hmm.
You should have an app where you can just scroll through your libraries, download the system, and then you can just boot it up instead of having to wait to get it. You have to wait for it to charge, and it's like for all the advancements they've made, like it's just like the small stuff that like Sony has perfected or Microsoft's perfected with the Xbox or like Nintendo. Now it's basically you can just remote everything, and it's like this is what would make these, I think, a system seller for me is that quality of life stuff. It's just like the simple stuff,
I agree.
updating remotely, being able to download games, be able to delete them remotely, and it's like the small stuff because. Case in point, like I was downloading 3D Mark to do some benchmarks on this stuff. I downloaded on my ROG LIX, the original, and then I went to the ROG Xbox LIX. And what happens was that because I'm on the same network, Steam saw I was trying to download the same thing on both devices, so it started doing a host transfer. So it basically started transferring the program from one device to the other and copying it. And it's like, well, why can't I just do that from anywhere? Like, why can't I just do it with my games? It's a cool feature, right? It saves you on having to download it again because it's just transfer. It's like basically an FTP transfer, but it's like, why can't I do that with games from my app or like with the command center? It's like, why is there not an app for your phone where you can just log into your like ASUS account, because we have ASUS accounts now that we're using, and it's like, just let me use the command center to issue commands to my devices.
I agree.
So, yeah, it's a small thing. Like, you know what? Overall, like I hope I'm not coming across too hard. I know you aren't, but like in 2025, like I feel like there's just like the bare minimum things we should be getting for these devices. And I'm not talking about, we're not talking about the hardware. I do like the hardware. I do like what it can do, but it's just like, it's the experience. Like it's still not where it needs to be if it wants to be the accomplice to a console or like a PC. Like they're fine, but they could do a little bit better.
Yeah. The other thing I want to bring up and talk about and get your opinions on is the actual like feel of the handheld, because they've taken a lot of inspiration from Xbox. They've added some grips. They make it feel more in line with an Xbox wireless controller. Yep. A lot of the overall design of it is pretty taken over from the original ROG Ally X. You've got the same face buttons, asymmetrical thumbsticks, triggers, the back buttons, and everything like that. But yeah, it really does. The new grips and the textures on them really feel nice. I mean, I've been playing it, on occasion for like upwards of 2 to 3 hours at a time, and at no point do my wrists feel fatigued. Do I feel like it's too heavy? It's the same reason why I really like the PlayStation Portal, in that it just feels nice having those grips in hand versus, you just holding kind of like a tablet.
Yep. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it with my whole chest. Every handheld needs contoured grips going forward. I will not accept anything less, because they are probably the best thing about this physically, about this device. Yeah. I love the grips. It's like you said, super comfortable. I have bigger hands, so it's actually even more comfortable for me, because it just feels so natural in my hands. And like, look, honestly, it just feels like it's perfect.
Yep.
It's about the size of the Steam Deck. I wish I had my Steam Deck with me. It's downstairs, but I mean, comparison's sake, like I'm just gonna pull them apart. Like, look at the difference.
Yeah.
I hope people are seeing it, but like it's just stuff like this, and it's like it does make a difference. Like, I don't get me wrong, I love the Switch, and I'm gonna pull this other. I love the ROG Ally X. I love these devices, but those grips are basically the game changer that I feel like we're missing, and it does help for games like Call of Duty or Battlefield, because you have that extra grip to kind of focus. You're not really worried about the console slipping out of your hands.
Yep. No, totally. It feels really good over time, and it just replicates that console-like experience all the better. I feel like all of the
like it makes a big difference.
Yeah, I feel like all the buttons, the triggers, that's the one thing I was saying earlier to some other people, is that I do really want them to implement like the adjustable trigger length for like the Xbox Elite or the DualSense Edge. I really want that, because the draw distance of the triggers, I just wish I could control those a little more, because I like the triggers. I like the way that they feel, but I was playing Call of Duty. I was playing some other shooters like RoboCop, and I just felt like having a little more control over the length of the draw on the triggers would be really nice in the new model.
I feel so, and to just compare, like I love the DualSense Edge, where you can adjust on the back with that little toggle where you can the press. I guess it's like the pressure of it. Like I love that, and I really do want that in this thing. But for a first attempt, like I think they nailed it. It really accompanies the impulse triggers, which is like probably one of the standout features of this device, is the fact that it feels like you have an actual Xbox control in your hands at this point, right? It is much like the PlayStation Portal. It's just a controller split between a screen, and like I love that. That's basically all I really need, right? And they really nailed like the feel, the texture, and those triggers are incredible. Like playing a shooter, it is really precise, and it's got haptics as well. So like you have the best of both worlds. It does really feel like it's a step up. Actually, I think I prefer it more than even like a typical Xbox controller using this device. It plays better when you're in your hands, just because like I said, I think I feel like they've elevated that haptic to it, and like it's a little bit more natural, and the response when you're playing games, like it's not just a rumble, but it kind of accentuates what you're doing.
Yeah, I like it overall. The feel of it, playing like you're saying, the haptics and everything. Yeah, I think it does a really adequate job of bringing over that console-like experience.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Is there anything else we haven't touched on?
There's a couple of things. I mean,
Sure.
I honestly probably could go forever. So, my big concern / I guess letdown is the fact that the whole marketing scheme is everything's an Xbox. This is an Xbox. That's an Xbox.
Okay. Yep.
It isn't an Xbox. I don't know why people are going with this marketing scheme. Like I love the fact that Microsoft has finally accepted the fact that people want to play their games anywhere and everywhere, and like that's fine, that's great. But I can't play my library. I'm not able to play my full library,
Right.
and I've mentioned this to a couple people and you offline that I like the fact that I can play a lot of the Game Pass games, any of the Xbox Play Anywhere games on this device. But what about someone like me who has a bunch of old JRPGs from like the Xbox 360 era, who have bought them and like wants to play them, but like they're tied to my console? It's like I know I could probably stream them, but that's not what I want, right? Like I want this is an Xbox branded device. It's made in partnership with Xbox and ASUS. So how is there not like a licensed emulation aspect of this thing? I would love to see an emulation aspect where I could just sign into my Outlook account, see what games I've bought from 360, the Xbox era, and just play them on my device. Because we know there are Xbox emulators out there. Why can't there be something a little bit more, officially supported, where it basically is just, click and play? And
yeah, I agree. I think that we've talked about it on the show, and I've been pretty adamant about this. Is that this is an Xbox marketing campaign? Kind of irritates me, only because exactly what you're saying is that my entire Xbox library isn't accessible on PC or on on an LG TV or on a smartphone. So therefore, it's not an Xbox. I will say that a lot of the contemporary games do carry over. You get cross save, you get cross progression and stuff like that, which is great. But I do think that this is not a ASUS problem whatsoever. This is a Microsoft problem in building its ecosystem, and Microsoft does have to address this elephant in the room at some point down the road when it comes to carrying over its legacy of its library, making sure that people can carry over their libraries and older games and stuff like that. And I don't think that it's an emulation thing. I think that Microsoft literally just has to do the work similar to how it has with its back compat
that's the thing.
Investments and everything on the Xbox consoles. They do just have to bite the bullet and just make it so that if you're playing on a PC, you get access to the library you have on console, vice versa, and stuff like that, especially if Xbox is going down this road of pseudo third party, having Xbox cloud gaming available, a free tier of Xbox cloud gaming that's being tested. If it's going through all these different devices and building out this ecosystem, they really have to streamline and simplify what is accessible across these devices.
Yeah, like if in Canada, we're in Canada. Like I actually got the email last week. Like I know officially there was that whole Xbox is increasing its prices, but I got the official email and I was like, oh, that's fine. I went from paying $275 a year to $407.99 a year. for Game Pass Ultimate. And that's what I that's a tier I'm on. If I'm paying that much money, I want actual physical evidence that you guys are taking that money and doing something with it instead of just rejiggering the tiers, making Xbox Cloud available on lower tiers. Like, if I'm paying this much money, you need to figure out emulation. Like, that's it. There's no argument there. It's just figure it out, because at that point, you're making more money than I'm comfortable giving you, and I'm definitely not renewing with them. But like, I got that email. I'm like, well, if you're taking that much money, you can figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, that's all I want. Like, and don't get me wrong, I love how many games are available. There are hundreds of games available already, but like, there are games on the 360 that I've had for ages. I just don't want to play them on my console.
And I think that they will come eventually over time. I think that we're already seeing a lot of these older games do come to PC Game Pass and the PC platform. It's just going to take time. But these are kind of like investments in terms of the hardware. I don't think that a lot of people are going to be forking out $12.99 for this device to play Banjo-Kazooie or an older Assassin's Creed 100%. Game. They're going to be playing Call of Duty. They're going to play Game Pass games. They're going to be playing the next Halo, the next Gears of War, E-Day, and stuff like that.
But I feel like if and that comes back to what I said about the price. If you're charging $400 a year for this new tier of Xbox Game Pass, like, really, the only thing you haven't done is emulation, and at this point, it's the only thing you can really do to keep people around, and that's how you get people. And you know this. Retro, tell people we're doing retro stuff. They're there. Look at Dave's podcast. He's basically just revisiting games from 30 years ago, and people love it. Anytime I post something retro or talk about something retro, our numbers are crazy. So that's the market you should be targeting with these devices, right? Because they're the ones who will spend that money to get that feeling, right? Like,
that is true.
That's what it comes down to. So if someone told me, hey, we're releasing this console, this Xbox, ROG Xbox Ally X, you can play your Game Pass games, but you can also now load up all your Xbox games, all your Xbox 360 games, and that's it. They'll play natively. Good luck. Have fun.
Yep.
Day one, I would buy it because that's what I want. I want to be able to load up Magna Carta 2. Lost Odyssey, a game that's literally 20 years old that you can only play emulated on the 360 or the One X or the Series XS. Like, I would kill to play that remotely, just on my handheld.
Yeah. Well, that about does it for this discussion on the Xbox Ally X. Just kind of, Bobby, why don't you wrap up your thoughts, on everything that you're feeling about this hardware as we head into the launch, the imminent launch of this. Whether or not you recommend it to people, if you think that it's a worthy investment, if it's additive to the market.
So I hate to be that guy, but like, if this is something you've on the fence about, I mean, you won't go wrong with it. It is a very powerful device, but to kind of play devil's advocate, you can get the same kind of experience with just the standard ROG Ally X. It's cheaper. The Xbox game bar has now been updated, so you can basically have that experience. The only thing you're losing on is maybe a little bit of performance power and the new AI processor, which is fine, right? But if you're someone who I know who's pre-ordered it, like, you're going to get it. Day one, you're picking it up. I mean, it's hard to gauge. I mean, like I said, it's a very niche market. So if you have $1,400 to blow, by all means, you have my blessing. You, Steve, I'm sure you'll give them your blessing too. Otherwise, there is a cheaper, same brand alternative that will do everything you want and more. So, like, really, if you are fully on board with Xbox, like, this is the device you definitely want with your Xbox Series X, because that's the person you are, right? You want the best of this world. So it's super hyper focused on a specific person. So I mean, ultimately, the average person, it's hard. That's what it comes down to. It's like, what does the average person do? They will not want this. So you know what? It's hard to say. Honestly, it's still too early to say. I don't think it's for the average person. So if you're listening to this, you probably don't need it. But if you are listening to this and you want what we've discussed, like, by all means, go get it. It is a really powerful handheld. It does a lot of stuff, but don't expect more than what we've discussed. Like, it will not, change the way you use a handheld. It will not change the way you use a computer. It's just the accomplice to your everyday tools, like your laptop, your desktop, or your console. Like, it's just a way to not be tied to a couch or a chair. I don't know. Yep. It's really hard to discuss. Like, it's a nuanced topic. It's not really just should you buy this, yes or no, right? There are so many great things about it, but at the same time, that price really is. It's a hard pill to swallow. That's kind of what I'm going to leave it with. Is just think of what you got to pay for every day. Like, you have lots of bills, right? Can you really justify spending $1,400 on a device? I mean, that's what it comes down to for me. It's like, you know what, you probably don't need it, but it is a fun device to own. Like, that's what I think I have to say with that. And that's what I'm going to say. And so that's kind of where I'm confused. It's just like, I do want to recommend it, but and I know I'm just like going on and on. It's just it's an interesting topic because I do love the handheld. It's just niche market.
Yeah, I'm a little more positive on it as far as like an enthusiast hobbyist device. I think this is the best PC gaming handheld that you can get. It simplifies 100%. the entire process of bringing over that console-like experience and streamlining what it takes to boot into a game that is available. I think the Xbox Game Bar overlay is a game changer. I think as someone who does not like playing games on their PC, it really does remove all that. A lot of the friction that goes into interacting with the games that are available. I think it feels great to hold. The battery life is pretty adequate, running on medium to higher settings. It looks good. I do wish selfishly that there was an OLED model, because that's me. I really do want an OLED model to at some point be released. I know ASUS has kind of been kicking the can on releasing an OLED ROG, but that's a topic for another day. That being said, I think that as far as enthusiasts are concerned, they're probably already listening to this podcast. They're probably already convinced that they're going to invest $1,200 Canadian into a device like this to carry over their progression, carry over their games from the Xbox ecosystem, interact with Steam and all these other launchers and stuff like that. I just can't justify ever recommending this to someone who's a casual player or someone who has never interacted with a PC gaming handheld ever in their life, because the onboarding process is pretty obtuse. There really needs to be some sort of step-by-step instruction of, hey, here's your drivers, here are your Windows updates. Make sure you go to the Xbox app and do this, update your individual games and everything. They really just need to unify and simplify that experience for me to be able to comfortably recommend this to a more casual player, because it's a beefy investment. It's $1,300 Canadian, and for me to be like, oh, go out and buy this device if you want to play your games on the go, which is a great novelty. It's a great value proposition from a metric standpoint. But when you start talking about the cash investment to get into this device, you have to be able to use it. You have to be able to be competent with it. And I struggle to think that a casual user or a younger user base will be able to interact with this as fluidly as a Nintendo Switch 2 or a PlayStation Portal without having to go onto YouTube and be like, well, if I'm booting up Doom, is it going to run straight out of the box? Why does it not run, 60 frames per second? What am I doing wrong? And I think that ASUS and Microsoft would be wise in the future, with the assumption that these devices are going to continue to kind of onboard new players, because the enthusiasm, like to your point at the top of the show, this market, this 1.2 million player base that are investing their time and money into PC gaming handhelds, can only grow if a casual audience gets involved. So we need cheaper models, which I guess, yes, you have the ROG Ally, the white one, that is more accessible at $800 Canadian. But we need more people in the community kind of getting their hands on these devices, leaving their feedback, so that these companies can kind of make them better as time goes on. But
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think that is done enough to entice me to use this on the daily. I'm going to be playing a lot of games specifically on this device versus, you know, on the ROG Ally X, where I was like, I guess I'll use it if I'm traveling, or maybe if I'm really desperate to, you know, lie in bed with it or something like that. But this is one that is always going to be in the rotation of how I play games.
That's what it comes down to. Like I will be using this quite often. Like I'm lucky enough to have, you know, the best of most worlds. Like I have my Switch 2, I have my Steam Deck, I have the ROG Ally X now, right? So like I play them based on what I feel like, right? So most games I'm happy to play on Steam Deck, but I've noticed that the ROG Ally X is just, because it's beefier, I can run better looking games on there. So like Witchfire, no problem. Like on Steam Deck, I couldn't do it. I mean, I do love the fact that like I have the choice. Like if I don't want to use my laptop, I can just grab my ROG Alex, and those beefier games, no problem. They do run pretty well.
Yep.
That's what I like about it. It's like I have the choice now. I have more choice to play games, and like that's what I like about this thing. It just gives you a lot of choice, right? Because like we said, out the box, it's a great experience. Give it 6 months. We're gonna have some really great stuff coming up, and for anyone who knows EmuDeck, I'm really excited to get that installed on here and have all my older games on here. That's what I'm really looking forward to, and like retro achievements and all that stuff. Naturally, Windows is really great for emulation, so like that's where I'm gonna start moving towards too. There's gonna be my emulation machine. It's basically just gonna have all that good stuff on there, and it's gonna run so flawless, and that's what I like. It's a beefy device that can basically like give you, like I said, best of both worlds. I can run a lot of the modern stuff, but like all the old stuff will basically sing on here. Like, and that's what I'm really excited about. It's just like that's you can't ask for more. It is really great in that regard. Like you really can do what you want with this machine, right? Like it can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And we'll have more over on the website. We'll be talking about the device more on the show as time goes on. But for now, Bobby, if people wanted to read the review, keep up with everything over on Console Creatures, where could they do so?
Yeah, consolecreatures.com, consolecreatures.com on Bluesky. You can follow me, Bpashalitis, and give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and Bluesky. We really would appreciate it. And give us a like on Ko-fi, because we're now on Ko-fi. Link is on Bluesky and all your socials.
Very cool. Yes. And as for me, you can find me across the internet at Asvikvari. We have a ton of reviews on the horizon, a lot of upcoming games we're going to be talking about. So we appreciate you all for supporting the show, tuning in, subscribing to the feeds, and all of that. But until next time, we'll see ya. Bye.